somebody.
You think you're somebody, huh? Well, look me over, pal. Who do you think I just had coffee with?
Then listen to nobody.
What are you trying to say?
Most of talk radio focuses on liberal versus conservative, but nobody adds a third point of view, the Islamic perspective. 3 worldviews in the news on the Nobody Knows Show. Sunday mornings at 8 on Sacramento's AM 1380. The Answer. News, opinion, insight. AM 1380. The Answer.
The information you obtain from this show is not, nor is it intended to be, legal advice. You should consult an attorney for advice regarding your individual situation. We invite you to contact us and welcome your calls, letters, and emails. Contacting us does not create an attorney-client relationship. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the Saturday HOA Brunch, presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. Please sit back, relax, and join Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick for an hour of entertaining information about HOAs and HOA law.
Well, welcome back to the Saturday HOA Brunch, 9:07 in studio. Brad Epstein, Viana Barbu. That's the Saturday HOA Brunch. Translation, homeowners associations, community associations. Brad, Viana, are you excited about another Saturday?
Very excited, Jonathan. How about you, Viana?
I'm excited. Good morning, everyone.
I'm all jacked up on like Dutch Brothers. I had a double stacked, triple shot 9/11 torture or something, whatever it's called.
The drink for this morning, because what's the weather out there? Jonathan, give us a weather report.
I have a feeling that all day in Sacramento, it's going to be balmy.
Another balmy day. We are Angius&Terry. We are a law firm for community associations. We represent community associations in all their different aspects. What are we here for? We are here to educate. We are here to provide information about HOA law. That is community associations, homeowner associations.
Yeah, and basically what we want is people to get a grasp of what goes on when I live in a community association. We have this board of directors. We have these HOA dues.
Right. These are corporations that run community associations. We want board members to be better board members. We want to educate them. We want homeowners to be happier homeowners. So we provide HOA law.
We want homeowners to understand.
I am really looking forward to today, the battle of the board members.
You know what? I'm looking forward to that too, but I also think we need to do our due diligence. We were supposed to have another industry expert,
yes,
a special guest on our show today, Adam Haney. Great guy, one of the leading CPAs in the area, accountant, professional, just gentleman. Appendicitis, goes in for an operation.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, he's recovering right now.
Yes.
I'm sure he's got the dial tuned up while he's in the room, laying there
We'll have
eating
to get him on the
shaved
show.
ice. We're going to get him back on the show. But we do definitely wish him our best, and we also want to wish him a speedy recovery.
Get well soon, Adam.
Yeah,
Get well soon, Adam.
And you better be listening to our show since you couldn't be here.
Right, or just give us a like on Facebook. The Saturday HOA Brunch, we're on Facebook. We're also on Twitter because we like to tweet. Yeah. So what do we got today?
Well, first, I just want to mention again, Gail and Dorothy are on standby. They're going to be calling in about 20 minutes. This is Battle of the Board Members, and I know a lot of our listeners like to play at home. This is the quiz at the end of the show about the topic that we speak of during the day. If you are a board member, if you would like to be a contestant on our show, all you have to do is call 888-923-1380. You could go on our website. You could contact us that way. There is a little bit of a waiting list for this to be on the Battle of the Board Members, but it's really fun. They get
prizes.
You get prizes. What do you get, Jonathan?
Well, a $100 gift card for first place, $50 gift card for second place. And yes, we do use that as a motivational tool to get some folks to roll out of bed at 9 o'clock on a Saturday.
That's right.
But it's fun. You're going to learn something, take something away from it. I'm looking at Frank in the back, smile ear to ear. Frank Jolly, he's back in there working the sticks for us today. So I think in honor of Adam Haney, we still are going to talk about accounting in the middle portion of our show. Is that correct?
That's right. Today we'll be talking about Homeowners Association accounting and discussing some of the accounting issues affecting associations. I know everybody loves accounting. Tax day just passed, so I'm sure everybody is pumped to start a whole new session on accounting. But first, we'll discuss the events at Legislative Day that just happened this past Monday. A lot of bills proposed.
It was. For community associations.
Yep. Community Associations Institute supporting some of the bills, and Jonathan, who was there, will let us know what's been happening.
Oh,
what
man.
we should look forward to.
You know what? It was exciting. In the weekend started on Saturday. Okay, we had the California or Community Associations Institute lobbyist Skip Dahm was in studio. Oh, and we went through this wild and crazy hot bill list. I think, if I recall correctly, there was something like over 2,000 bills total that they were trying to pass through or getting prepared to pass through. And now
those concern community associations?
Not all of them concern community associations, but there was approximately 51 that did affect community associations. So there's this organization, CLAC, the California Legislative Action Committee for the Community Associations Institute, CAI. People from all over the state. We gathered. We had this great continental breakfast. The spokesman got up there. He got everybody dialed in, fired up, said, hey, we're going to go across the street this afternoon, and we're going to do some grassroots lobbying. We're going to talk to our local assemblymen, senators, and all these people that work the Capitol on a daily basis. And there's 3 important bills that we are going to voice our opinion as members of the Community Associations Institute, and on behalf of CLAC, we're going to lobby either for or against these 3 bills. Well, you want to know what the 3 bills are, right?
Let's run through them before we hit accounting, right, Jonathan?
Let's run through them real quick. So the first bill was SB 47, Senate Bill 47, environmental health, synthetic turf.
Synthetic turf.
Yeah, synthetic turf. So basically, this bill, this was going to require the Office of Environmental Health Hazard Assessment by July 1st of 2017 in consultation with the Department of Resources, Recycling, and Recovery, the State Department of Public Health, and the Department of Toxic Substances Control. Sorry, that's a tongue twister. To prepare and I can't even talk this morning. So jacked up on caffeine. Prepare and provide to the legislator and post on the office's internet website a study analyzing synthetic turf. Why do you think this is a hot topic, synthetic turf?
Well, first of all, what does all of that mean? So what are they really looking to do? Yeah. I guess they need some lawyers to clean up this language a little, huh?
Yeah.
So it looks like this bill is looking to allow the installation of synthetic turf. But first, what CAI is looking to do, Community Associations Institute, is support more research first before synthetic turf is allowed to be installed. So
Right. It's because I guess there is a concern that synthetic turf is actually going to cause some health problems with exposure to it. Look at some of these. So what this bill says is that there's going to be a study, and it's going to concern exposure to the chemicals that may be found in synthetic turf. Check out some of these: acetone, arsenic, barium, naphthalene, nickel, phthalates, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons. That's the worst right there.
I can't even pronounce it.
What's interesting also is that this law says that, well, we're going to go ahead and examine whether people who have played in soccer on these, specifically, this examination shall include people who have developed these health impacts and played on fields and playgrounds containing used, quote-unquote, used tires, including, but not limited to, soccer goalies.
Oh, man.
Wow, specifically, huh?
Are they going to mutate? Is that what are the consequences of playing indoor soccer?
Mutation,
they want to prevent mutation. Okay, what was the next one? Senate Bill 655, the mold misdemeanor bill. So who's going to be held accountable if they find mold in your common area of your community association? A little bit vague. I mean, can you do that? If you have a community of 4,000 acres, people are probing around, going through it with a comb. Oh, my gosh, there's mold. So who are we going to fine? Who are we going to punish? Who are we going to incarcerate because of mold? So, yeah, that's one that not necessarily, and maybe needs to be amended or maybe,
clarified.
Yeah,
maybe.
Clarified. They need to go through that one again, all the suits down there at the Capitol. And then the other one, Assembly Bill 1335. Right?
The Building Homes and Jobs Act.
Yeah.
Right. So this one provides for an additional $75 fee when anyone goes ahead and records a document with the county recorder. And
you're going to go broke.
Well, I don't know about going broke. The purpose is for the low income housing, and it has some really different, interesting statements in the law. This is a quote again. It was saying, this is because of some facts, some things that have happened. It says that 8 of the 10 top hardest hit cities by the foreclosure crisis in the nation were in California, including Modesto, Stockton, Merced, Bakersfield, and Sacramento.
Jeez. Well, anyways, for an update, it was a great day. I think we're going to make a difference with CLAC, the community associations, CLAC, and all of the grassroots lobbyers at Legislative Day. We're wrapping it up. When we get back, we're going to jump into accounting. Yeah, you look excited, Bianna.
I am pumped.
Set sail with Newt Gingrich. Get aboard the elegant 6-star Crystal Symphony for a spectacular 7-day cruise from New York to Montreal. And while you're on board, we'll offer stimulating seminars on politics with special guest Newt Gingrich. And we'll top it off with valuable insights on money and investing from Mark Skousen, John Ransom, and Chris Versace. It's the Politics in Your Portfolio cruise, featuring historic ports of call, the royal treatment from one-of-a-kind Crystal Cruises, and up-close and personal experiences with our world-class panel of political and portfolio experts. Everything's included. Fine wines and adult beverages, onboard dining in elegant specialty restaurants, even your gratuities. We set sail September 13th through the 20th, and we're looking forward to seeing you. Don't wait for your chance to set sail aboard the Crystal Symphony from New York to Montreal with Newt Gingrich and our panel of investment experts. Log on to politicsinyourportfolio.com. Politicsinyourportfolio.com. Once again, politicsinyourportfolio.com.
If your community association has a good relationship with their current management company, you can stop listening. However, if you are struggling with your current service provider, we'd love to talk with you to see if Omni Community Management would be a good fit. Transparency, education, communication, and trust are just 4 of the qualities that set Omni apart. This is Rolf Crocker, CEO of Omni. Call us at 916-965-8964. That's 916-965-8964. Online at omni-mgt.com. That's omni-mgt.com. Omni Community Management, your friend in the community association management industry for over 20 years.
Have you ever heard of the saying, a person's home is their castle? Of course you have. But sometimes a construction defect can turn your castle into a catastrophe. If this happens to you, you need proper and professional representation. You need Angius&Terry, LLP. For over 30 years, the attorneys at Angius&Terry have been effectively serving homeowners and community associations, recovering more than $500 million on behalf of their clients. Angius&Terry strives to ensure that your construction defect claims are prosecuted in an aggressive and cost-effective manner. Angius&Terry will also continue to work with homeowners and community associations after the construction defect claims are concluded to make sure that the money received from builders is spent wisely and that your interests are protected during the repair process. Don't let a construction defect turn your castle into a catastrophe. Call Angius&Terry LLP today at 916-567-1400. That's 916-567-1400. Online at angius-terry.com. Angius&Terry LLP.
AM 1380. The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry LLP. And now your hosts Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380 The Answer.
Balmy Saturday in Sacramento again. The sun is shining, and I can see the traffic on Highway 80 cruising. It's a great day, and we're in studio. We're talking about community associations and Dorothy. We have Dorothy. Dorothy's called in. She's ready to play Battle of the Board Members later in the show. Hi, Dorothy.
Hello, hello, hello.
Happy Saturday morning.
Day. I agree with you.
It is a beautiful day.
Oh, it's great to hear from you, Dorothy. Are you going to be, it'll be a couple minutes later, but are you going to be ready to play Battle of the Board Members?
Let's put it this way. I'm as ready as I'm going to be, give or take whatever comes up.
Yeah.
Rolled up your sleeves, you're ready to go to battle?
How long have you been a board member?
I don't know about battle, but I'll give it my best shot.
How long have you been a board member, Dorothy?
for a very short period of time, about 18 months.
About 18 months. So you're a rookie, and you know who you're going to be playing, right? You're going to be playing one of your fellow board members, Gail.
Yes, I'm playing. Yes, I know.
I know.
I'm playing the Mickey Mantle of the board.
Oh, that's awesome. Mickey Mantle of the board. Yeah, because Gail's been on the board for about, I think, 18 years, huh?
18 years?
Wow.
Yeah.
18 months versus 18 years. Let's see who's going to win this one. I'm excited for you, Dorothy.
I'm the personnel person.
And you guys are dealing with the drought and trying to deal with make sure all your trees at your beautiful development survive the drought, aren't you?
Exactly correct.
Yeah.
We are right now in the midst of having all kinds of ideas to present the Citrus Heights Water Department with the satisfaction that we are trying our very, very best to conserve.
Oh, that's great. Commendable. Yeah, it's difficult. It's going to be a balancing act because my understanding is that you're going to have to let a lot of the lawns, the turf, die, right? I mean, there's only so much you can do with the lack of water for turf, and then try and make sure that the trees survive, right?
That is our primary concern, yes. We have some of the most beautiful redwood trees you've ever seen, and that is one of our that's a positive to our community when people drive in and see what a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful stand we have here. It's just gorgeous.
Well, I'm optimistic. There's some rain in the forecast, Dorothy, so I am hoping...
When is that?
When? I don't know.
I think it's actually coming up Wednesday and Thursday next week, so hopefully it'll be enough to at least help us a little.
Let's make it a gully washer.
Yeah, well, right now, Gail, she'll be joining us here shortly. Dorothy, we appreciate your energy, and I think that even though you only have 18 months experience, you have a great opportunity today to win Battle of the Board Members.
Thank you. I'm all for opportunity.
Okay, all right. So it is 9:23. You can give us a call if you do have any questions regarding common interest developments, community associations. The number's 888-923-1380, 888-923-1380.
And we really like to hear from our callers. I know there are listeners out there who live in homeowners associations or are interested in buying a home in a homeowner association or have questions about the law. So we'd like to hear your stories. We'd like to hear your experiences, and we'd love to answer your questions. Hopefully we know the answer to your questions, but call us anyway. Give us a call.
All right, so Bianna, this is the portion of the show. Dorothy and Gail are going to be listening, take some notes, get ready for the information that we are going to enlighten you with here in regards to a little bit of community association law. Bianna, what are you and Brad going to talk about today?
You want to talk about the law? Well, the law today that we're talking about is specific provisions on association accounting. So the law, let's talk about what the Davis-Sterling Act requires. And the Davis-Sterling Act, for those of you out there who don't know,
what it requires in regards to accounting.
In regards to accounting.
Portions of it, okay.
You know what? I was thinking today maybe we can just read the entire Davis-Sterling Act on the radio.
Right.
Do we have at least a 6 or 7 hour show?
I can see the cars piling up on Highway 80 now if they turned to the dial and we were reading the Davis-Sterling Act.
Well, it is an interesting piece of legislation. So the Davis-Sterling Act is part of the California Civil Code that provides for common interest developments, and it's the governing law for how HOAs should operate.
Right.
And usually in terms of accounting, for those who are unfamiliar, HOAs have two accounts: operational funds and reserve funds.
Right. And Bianna, where does the money come from that's going to be used in these funds, these accounts?
Well, the money comes from assessments imposed on the owners who own separate interests in the homeowner association. And in terms of the operational funds, those are funds that are used for daily expenses, weekly, monthly expenses. So there's an account for operational funds funded by assessments collected from all the owners in the community. And those operational funds pay for just weekly, monthly, regular expenses. Now, we have another account for reserve funds, which the reserve funds are used for long-term projects, 30-year or more projects like re-roofing or repaving roads. So those are separate funds also collected from assessments that provide for long-term.
I think we had a caller last week that called in that said, hey, I have a road association. I put my funds into a reserve account like this. She was mad referred to it as her HMO. We knew, of course, that she was talking about her HOA. But these are the types of, this is where your HOA dues, your road association dues, your assessments, they're going to go into these funds for future maintenance.
Right, and our caller last week was upset because she had been paying into the reserve funds for a while,
Wants
and
the
she
roads
wasn't
paved.
seeing, and she wasn't seeing any use for those funds. But that is actually how reserve funds are used. They're not used immediately. They usually take a few years for those improvements to deteriorate before the reserve funds are used to replace or repair those improvements.
Let's talk to Gail. She
Gail's
is on
with
the
us.
line now, our second contestant. Gail, chime in. How are you?
Hey, I'm good. How are you?
Hi,
You
Gail.
sound great. Yeah, I've known Gail for many, many years. She is a fantastic board member, really cares, and it's not just that she cares, that's one of her positive attributes.
18 years.
She's a star. She's a board member star. She knows her business. Yeah, she has a great sense of
Actually-
humor. Well, go ahead, what?
Actually, Brad, it's 26 years.
Oh, my, 26 years.
Yes.
Wow.
We might be adding you to the Hall of Fame of board members on Battle of the Board Members. I was 5 years old when you took the reins of
Oh,
your
yeah, right.
community association board.
Nice guy. Oh, man, she has done some great things, a lot of good projects. And, Gail, you were listening before you got on, and so we're talking with Dorothy, and she was giving us some information. And I want you to give a little bit more information because we have this big issue of the drought.
No water.
And your association is a leader in this. You guys are trying to get ahead of the curve, be very proactive. And you are dealing with the issue of having to make sure that your trees survive and maybe your turf isn't going to survive because of the drought. So what is it, those lines, like tech lines or something like that? What is that again?
Tech line is the industry standard for a drip line. And the best way to is just putting drip lines all around the trees. And the water districts then do not limit the amount of water you can use via a tech line. Therefore, we will be able to save our trees if we need to do that.
That is great information for our board members out there, and you could look at what your local water district requires, what it prohibits, and you could go on the website for the State Water Control Board. It's ACWA, get it? ACWA, ACWA, so acwa.com. Gail, that's excellent. What we're going to do is come back to you in a little bit to play Battle of the Board Members. I know you're raring to go, so we're going to go ahead and talk a little bit more about the law.
Let's talk about the law. So we mentioned that there are HOAs usually have two accounts. One is an operational account and one is a reserve fund. And I know, Brad, you know that there's one other important part of accounting for associations, which is the annual budget report.
The annual budget report. So what the Davis-Sterling Act says, the Davis-Sterling Act, that is the law that has to do with nothing but community associations, homeowner associations, condominium associations. And it provides that every year the board of directors, they must distribute to all its members the annual budget report. This is a cornerstone, Jonathan, to the financial analysis.
Well, Gail has seen 26 of these, and Dorothy's seen one.
30 to 90 days before the end of its fiscal year, the association must distribute to all the owners the annual budget report. And the two primary aspects of it are, one is the pro forma operating budget. The pro forma operating budget. It shows the estimated revenue and expenses on an accrual basis. So what we're talking about is revenue. And what's the greatest, Fiona, what is the greatest portion of all associations' revenue?
Oh, revenue. It's usually composed of assessments collected from every owner in the association.
Right, so you have these perpetual corporations, community associations, and they get their money by the assessments imposed against the owners, and then you have the expenses, and those include management fees, insurance, electricity for the common area, water for the common area, and the other component, other than the budget, is the reserves. So you have to keep your eye on the ball with both of them. The reserves, how it's funded, whether the association is deferring any maintenance, the mechanism where they're going to go ahead and fund, the procedures for determining how the reserves are put together. And the reserves, again, are That's the money that the association puts aside to maintain, repair, and replace components that have a 30-year or less life. When we come back...
Yeah, when we come back, we're going to finish up with accounting. I want to give a shout-out to my cousin, Kevin Young Concrete, 916-686-3332. He's out pumping concrete. I'd rather be here talking about homeowners associations. So, Kevin, if you're out there, thanks for listening. We'll be back.
It's a great day at Huff Heating and Air. This is Ashley. How can I make you smile?
Do you want to smile? Give the awesome people at Huff Heating and Air a call and discover for yourself why so many customers have purchased systems or repairs to their current systems and are smiling from ear to ear. The weather is turning sunny and hot, and you'll need to be ready. For limited time, the Huff Heroes have a pre-summer special. Get that furnace for $500 when you purchase a complete air conditioning system installed. It's an outstanding value. Huff has been providing superior customer service at an affordable price for the past 11 years. If you have a quote from another company for a new system or major repairs, Huft will give you at no cost and no obligation a free second opinion. Huft will give you a written quote guarantee that will exceed your expectations. Call Huft today, 686-2626. That's 686-2626. Or visit Huft online at HuftHeroes.com.
AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
Well, we're back, fired up. Oh, and I'm just chuckling. I'm sorry, Giants fans, you've lost again. I'm a blue-collar A's guy, so it doesn't hurt my feelings to see the orange and black go down. But we're not talking about baseball on this show. We are talking about HOAs, homeowners associations. We just started, talking about what the Davis-Sterling has to say, the Davis-Sterling Act, on accounting, right?
Yeah. Gail, what are your opinions on accounting? Are you pro or con accounting?
Well, Gail, unfortunately, Frank, he popped out real quick, so we'll ask Gail real quick when Frank gets back in his box working the sticks. So go ahead, jump in the next portion of accounting. Viana?
Well, one of the most important parts of accounting for associations is a board review. So it's also one of the duties of the board is to conduct periodic financial reviews. And the Davis-Sterling Act requires that boards review at least on a quarterly basis the following 5 things. So the association's operating accounts, that's really important. That's the account that most expenditures come from. Then the second item would be the current reconciliation of the association's reserve account. So that means what's going on currently with the reserves, at least on a quarterly basis, that must be reviewed. The third item would be the current year's actual reserve revenues and expenses, and you are going to compare that to the current year's budget. So that's the third item that boards should review at least on a quarterly basis and compare the actual reserves for the year with the current year's budget.
And if somebody wanted to look this up, they could go to our website. We have a link for the Davis-Sterling Act, and that's www.angius-terry.com, angus-terry.com, and there's actually a link. You can click on the Davis-Sterling Act. And what civil section?
That is Civil Code Section 5500. So
right. If you just don't get enough
section
of this today, just jump on the web. You can get all the information that you need.
Yeah, and there's 2 more items that boards should review on a quarterly basis.
What are the items?
The fourth item would be account statements provided by banks where the association has its operating and reserve accounts, which I think would make sense. Hopefully, associations are reviewing their bank statements. And the last item would be income and expense statement for the association's operating and reserve accounts so that must also be reviewed at least on a quarterly basis. The account statements prepared by the banks should probably be reviewed a little more, I would think, than just a quarterly basis.
Good. Hey, Gail, are you still there?
Absolutely.
Hey, Gail, and again, we know that you've been on the board for a long, long time. What is your view on the reviewing the financials for the association? How often do you do that? Do you have your board do that?
We do that every single month.
I know. Yeah.
That's great.
I'm the treasurer secretary, and I go over the budget with a fine-tooth comb and circle the areas where we might be over and how to adjust, and review the reserve items and make sure that transfers have been made on time and find out if they haven't. So our management company does an excellent job of presenting all 5 components of the budget review that needs to be done on a monthly basis.
That's right. You have an excellent management company, and isn't that the Management Trust Colcal Division?
It is.
Yeah.
We've had them for 12 years, and they've done an excellent job.
An excellent job. Yeah, they are a great management company. Yeah, so I think the question arises because of the fact that there are self-managed associations, and there's so many different requirements in the Davis-Sterling Act that sometimes people think, wow, you may need to have professional management in order to make sure that you make all your disclosures timely and actually know what to review. Professional management is a good idea for associations.
And possibly professional accounting as well in terms of some of these items, especially for large associations.
Right. Adam Haney was going to be with us today, so we're trying
He'll
to
be
fill in the
back with
blanks.
us. We're going to reschedule. He'll get we're going to have him in studio. It's just they didn't want us to wheel him in here on the gurney, and we were down there, and so I was arguing with the doctor. Hey, we need this guy. He's an expert. Yeah, accounting and community associations. This is our guy. We need him this week. They said, hey, sorry, buddy, take a hike. So we'll reschedule.
Yeah, one thing Gail mentioned was the reserves and how she will look at the financials and include in there the reserve report. And most of the disclosures, 7 out of 9 of the annual budget requirements in the Civil Code, they have to do with disclosures about the reserves. So this is you have 2 accounts. You got the operating account, that's where you pay all your bills, daily bills, and then you have the reserves, that's where you put your money away for that rainy day to replace the roofs when they're at the end of their useful life. So the budget, it's a really useful tool. It highlights unexpected budget variances compared to an actual statement of revenues and expenses. And we have this accrual accounting. And what that does is it matches revenues with expenses by identifying revenues when they're earned and expenses when they're incurred. So it's a little different than cash accounting required by the Davis-Sterling Act. Accrual accounting matches revenues with expenses by identifying revenues when they are earned and expenses when they are incurred. And in addition, we have the use of the reserve funds, right, Fiona?
Right. So the reserve funds are to be used for a variety of purposes, but mostly for long-term repair, maintenance of items that need to be replaced quite rarely, like repavement of roads and roofs. And usually when reserve funds are to be used, at least 2 persons who are usually directors have to have signatures for withdrawal of money from the association's reserve accounts.
That's a Davis-Sterling Act requirement. You can't just simply go with one person, one board member, and go and pay out of the reserves with just one signature. 2 signatures. Has to be either 2 directors or a director and an officer who might not be a director. But 2 signatures for the reserve accounts. It's distinguished from the operating account, where you just pay your daily bills, management, insurance, and whatnot.
Right. And even though reserve accounts are to be used for a repair restoration of long-term items, the association may also transfer reserve funds temporarily, and they may be transferred from reserves to the operating account to meet cash flow requirements or other expenses, but only if the board provides notice of the intent to transfer of the funds at a board meeting. So the owners must be informed that funds will be transferred.
You got to let all the residents know where the money's going.
Yeah, you can't just take money out and
go to the Indian casino and say, hey, let's see if we can pay for these roofs on
really important. This is where boards make mistakes. I've seen it's not atypical for boards to accidentally make a mistake, and what they do is they will go ahead and they'll pull money from reserves because they'll have some kind of an emergency situation with their operating. For instance, let's say that an association gets penalized for using too much water, right? Okay, and I've seen like gas bills for associations. They're suddenly much higher than budgeted, and so Viana again. So an association, can they do that? Can they take? Okay, so an association had a water leak. They weren't aware of the water leak in their common area, and they get the bill, and the bill for the water for that quarter was much higher than anticipated. Can they go ahead and just grab that money from the reserves and pay that bill?
Yeah, no worries. Just take it out. No problems. Nope. They have to follow the rules, which would include notifying the owners at the next board meeting that they need to transfer money from the reserves to the operating budget, to the operating account, and the Notice must include the reasons for the transfer, some of the options for repayment, and whether a special assessment may be considered, because in the event that the association's funds are going to be lacking and a special assessment may be needed, the owners need to be informed that a special assessment may be coming.
Gotcha. So the board has that high bill. They need to pay it. They can go ahead and do it. They can get the money out of the reserves, but they have to notify the owners in advance and make that decision at a board meeting. Right, Jonathan?
Absolutely. I'd hate to see an IOU board of directors water bill up in the community center bulletin board. We're going to go to commercial break. We have two very excited, energetic, and intelligent ladies on the line. Board
stars.
members.
They're board member stars.
We'll see you in a bit.
Hi, I'm Morgan Fussell. My company, Broadband Agreements, negotiates cable television and broadband right of entry, access, and compensation agreements for your communities. At Broadband Agreements, we offer a free review of all agreements with a signed letter of authorization. Broadband Agreements will improve your community's income and/or savings, or you don't pay us a dime. Visit us at broadbandagreements.com. That's broadbandagreements.com. Or call me, Morgan Fussell, directly at 916-939-5026. That's 916-939-5026. Broadband Agreements online at broadbandagreements.com or 916-939-5026.
The challenges presented by today's economy and rebounding housing market is forcing many homeowners association boards of directors to operate their HOAs more like a business. It's a balancing act of trying to stay solvent and still provide homeowners with quality amenities and services. One of the main challenges HOA boards are facing is attempting to recover unpaid HOA fees owed by delinquent homeowners. Collection efforts are often very time-consuming. If you want to get the HOA fees collection monkey off of your back, call ATC Assessment Collection Group. ATC is an attorney-supervised collection company providing collection and foreclosure services to HOAs in both California and Nevada's most recognizable communities. Get back to what you actually volunteered to do as an HOA board member. Effectively oversee your community. Call ATC today at 916-641-1410. That's 916-641-1410. Online at atcacg.com. That's atcacg.com. ATC Assessment Collection Group.
AM 1380, The Answer.
You're listening to the Saturday HOA Brunch presented by Angius&Terry, LLP. And now your hosts, Brad Epstein and Jonathan Broderick on AM 1380, The Answer.
We're back in studio. Traffic's flowing down the 80. It's a sunny, balmy day in Sacramento. And we have two board members that have listened to a little bit of the law and the Davis-Sterling Act in regards to accounting. Dorothy and Gail, a couple of energetic ladies. I just received a text from my cousin Kevin. I'm excited to hear these ladies, Kevin Young, battle it out on Battle of the Board Members.
And so, Gail and Dorothy, let's hear you yell one out. You still here?
Yay!
All right.
Right on!
Okay, so I am going to apologize to you right now because we didn't have Adam Haney, who was our CPA for the day, to talk about the law. So some of these questions are going to be a little bit more difficult. I know that you will be able to deal with it, but
they have experience.
So if you get it wrong, you get it wrong because you didn't hear it from. So what's the rules of the game? There's a battle of board members. You can play at home, and we love this part of the show. And what we have here is we're going to have 2 rounds of 3 questions each. So it is true or false, true or false. So I'm going to go to one of you. It's going to be Gail. Gail's going to go up first, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to ask 3 questions of her. After each question, you go ahead and say true or false. What I want you to know, though, is I want you to know that if you don't understand the question, if I fumble through my words, just simply ask me, hey, repeat that. Can you say it again? No problem. At the final round, though, that's called our lightning round. That one's going to be timed. And that one, you can't ask me to go ahead and repeat it. You can't ask Jonathan to repeat. Viana's going to go ahead and keep score. So first up will be Gail. Second up will be Dorothy. Gail, are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
With that build-up. Excellent. All right. So, round 1, Gail first. Questions. Number 1. Balance sheets, delinquent accounts aging, and reserve studies, among other tools, provide a comprehensive report of an association's financial health. True or false?
True.
Number 2, assessment income from members is often the only significant source of funds for an association.
True.
If an association has a severe assessment delinquency problem, boards need not impose assessments sufficient to meet obligations under the governing documents.
Say that one again?
Yeah, that's a mouthful. If an association has a severe assessment delinquency problem, boards do not need to impose assessments sufficient to meet their obligations.
True.
Okay.
Viana?
How'd she
Wow,
do?
Dorothy, Gail, that's pretty impressive. 2 out of 3, not bad, not bad.
2 out of 3. I'm a little bit biased, and I am not exactly sure. I think it went with our seniority rule for why Gail got to go first.
Let me just mention that last question that Gail got wrong was really worded funkily. Funkily is that word. If an association has an assessment delinquency problem, they still need to meet their obligations. So it's kind of a double negative. Again, I apologize.
Yeah, and so generally this is the case. Dorothy, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Well, I am
Cross your fingers.
absolutely rooting for you.
Anticipation, yeah.
I always root for the contestants that I get to ask the questions to. I'm not going to go
always
into
biased.
records, but my right now my draft and fantasy board members for this game show is I'm doing great in the league. So, are you ready for your questions, Dorothy? 3 questions.
Yes, and please speak slowly and distinctly.
Oh, man.
That's fair.
All
That's
right.
fair.
Okay, I like that. Okay, so slowly and distinctly. Your first question, Dorothy. A budget must be distributed timely to increase the assessments on the first of the year.
It sounds logical, true.
Second question. The annual budget report is also referred to as a pro forma budget in the Civil Code.
Holy cow, we didn't even cover that.
Yeah. Well, it's a 50-50.
Pro forma. I would say false.
And third question, are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. Thanks, Frank. An annual budget report only needs to report on revenues and expenses for the following year.
The word only is a ticker. I would say false.
You got it. All right, I like it. We're locked horns here after the first round. Give us a score update, Viana.
It's a tie. Both contestants, 2 out of 3. Let's see what happens next.
Great, what
Second
a contest.
Round. Go, Dorothy.
So difficult questions, and Dorothy is clearly a professional test taker. You know, she said, that only, that was a ticker. And then also on that one, that was a difficult one. And then she got that other one right. Yeah, okay.
2 out of 3, it's tied.
Gail, are you ready for round 2?
I am.
All right. 7 out of 9 of the annual budget requirements in the Civil Code have to do with disclosures about reserves. True or false?
Say one more time.
7 out of 9 of the annual budget requirements in the Civil Code have to do with disclosures about reserves.
That's a stupid. True.
Whoa!
Great. The number 2.
No, we got to get the answer. Was that true or
She said
false?
true.
She said true?
She said true.
Wow, Gail's memorized the Civil Code. I love it.
She wrote the Civil Code. Gail, number 2. The budget is a useful tool to highlight unexpected budget variances compared to an actual statement of revenues and expenses.
True.
Number 3. Accrual accounting matches revenues with expenses by identifying revenues when they're earned and expenses when they are incurred.
True.
Nice job. What's your dog's name? Is that Annie? Yeah?
Yes.
Oh, she's cheering for
Hello,
you.
Annie.
I think that's your sidekick is helping you.
Viana, so what is that, 3 out of 3?
That's 3 out of 3 for the second
Yeah.
round, Gail. So
Okay.
total of 5 out of 6.
All right. Well, that's okay. Dorothy, are you ready to step up? Your second round of questions. I will
Oh,
speak
man, I'm
slowly
working up a
and
perspiration
clearly.
here.
All right. Simmer down.
It's heating up.
Simmer down. Okay, first question. An association's management is responsible for reviewing bank reconciliations so that the boards don't have to.
Well, that's what I would like to think. True.
Oh, okay. Second
False,
question.
huh?
All right. A reserve study lists major repairs and replacements to the common area over the next 30 years.
That would come out of reserve account. I would say true.
Got it. Reserve studies do not need a funding plan.
False.
Got it. Update, Viana.
Wow, 2 out of 3. That's 4 out of 6 for Dorothy.
She's still in it. She's still in it.
Still holding on strong.
Yeah.
All right, time for our lightning round. Gail.
Oh my gosh, we're still going here. Yippee!
Gail.
Yes.
You are first in our lightning round. I love the lightning round. So on this one, you can't ask me to repeat it, and we are timing you. 30 seconds.
45 seconds.
45 seconds for this one?
That's
I think
45 seconds.
That sounds fair to me. Okay. Gail, are you ready?
I think so.
As ready as ever.
Yeah.
Start the clock.
Got the clock ready.
Number 1. Using a reserve funding plan that accumulates funds evenly over the next 30 years is a good way to avoid a special assessment.
True.
2 board member signatures are required for all reserve fund withdrawals.
True.
A balance sheet report shows revenues and expenses for a period of time.
True.
Members only have the right to the annual financial reports and the budget and no other reports.
False.
In order to transfer funds from reserves to the operating account, the board must obtain the owner's approval.
False.
Wow, that's 4 out of 5. That's pretty impressive.
Solid. That
Total
is
score
solid.
after 3 rounds, Viana.
We've got, let's see, math's not my strong point.
So we've got 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3, 5, 4 out of 5. We're going to say 9.
9 out of 11.
questions.
9 out of 11 for Gail, right.
Gail only missed 2. That's pretty impressive.
Nice job, and she did it under 45 seconds
With all
easily.
of the intensity.
That's
and
not
everything
pretty
going
impressive.
on.
That's very impressive.
It's very impressive.
Yeah.
Very
Jeez.
impressive.
Okay, Dorothy.
Ready?
Mathematically, we're
Slowly
still
and
in this.
distinctly.
Yeah, we are. Okay, slowly
That's fair. That's
and
fair.
distinctly in 45 seconds. 5 questions. Are you ready?
I am.
All right. Monitoring the delinquent account aging report and enforcing the collection policy is important to the overall financial strength of the association.
True.
A balance sheet contains a list of assets and claims regarding those assets.
True.
An acceptable separation of duties is to allow the treasurer to handle all transactions and prepare reports if no other board members are willing to participate.
True.
You should look for significant increases in reserve contributions or cash shortfalls in your reserve fund at least annually.
At least annually. At least.
There's that word.
I would say true.
There you go. If all the numbers add up, the financial reports must be correct.
Repeat. Oh, can't repeat that. Must be correct. True.
Okay, Viana.
That probably should be a false.
Yeah,
That's
right.
okay.
Yeah, your great test-taking skills.
Must.
So, Dorothy, we have you at 7 out of 11.
Oh.
That's not very bad at all.
No, for 18 months, I got to give a lot of credit to both of these. Great contestants.
Great board members. So our victor was...
Yeah, it was Gail.
Gail, and our second victor was...
Dorothy.
Everybody, fantastic.
Wins. Everybody wins
you
at
guys,
place.
I'm impressed and so glad that you guys joined us today. I really appreciate you doing us the favor of coming on our show and being a contestant. Gail, we're going to get you a $100 gift card. And Dorothy, we're going to get you a $50 gift card. So happy you could join us for our brunch. A question, though. Were you actually eating your brunch while you were listening to our show?
Are you talking to Dorothy?
Either one of you.
No, actually, I was just having coffee.
Oh, okay. What
does that count?
I brought my coffee over to the phone and got comfortable so I wouldn't be nervous.
Yeah, well,
that's great, right?
Awesome. We appreciate you listening. We appreciate their participation, and we anticipate that there's a good possibility that your community is successful because of how
Always has
intelligent
been.
you are.
Always has been. Always will.
That's another Saturday HOA Brunch, a power hour of community associations information that we plowed through. This week, let's thank some of our sponsors that have jumped on board, right?
Yes.
Rolf Crocker, Omni Community Association Management,
Yeah.
Morgan Fussell. We want to wish his mother the best.
Broadband. Yeah,
She's having some health issues. He had to fly out, but he's supposed to be with us next week.
Next week is he going to call in from
He
Chicago?
might call in from the Motor City, Detroit. So we're going to go. It's another week.
Thank you.
Brad Epstein, Bianna Barbu.
Get well soon, Adam.
Thanks, Dorothy and Gail.
Bye-bye. Bye.
Healthcare, entitlements, taxes, probate, and elder law issues. Family Heritage Group presents